a deacon and Sunday school teacher, who taught his son that faith and politics should not mix.
I've always remembered that Thomas Jefferson, claiming to speak on behalf of all the founding fathers, said we should build a wall between the church and the state.
Carter was open about his faith while running for president, describing himself as a born-again Christian and winning a majority of the evangelical vote in 1976.
We never had any religious services in the White House. I never expressed any preference for my own Christian faith compared to others.
But his presidency would be defined in part by religion and the emergence of God's warriors on the world stage. Most notably during the Iranian Revolution, where a religious fundamentalist took over a nation, making God and country truly one in the new Islamic Republic of Iran.
I experienced fundamentalism in the Islamic faith when the Iranians took American hostages, and the Ayatollah Khomeini, who was a fundamentalist, felt that it was all right to hold foreigners hostage.
52 Americans held captive for 444 days. It was a major reason that Carter was a one-term president. And religion in America also played a role in ending Carter's presidency. Many evangelicals who supported this committed Christian Democrat in 1976 switched to the not-so-church-going Republican Ronald Reagan 4 years later.
Congratulations, sir.
Many had been swayed by Jerry Falwell and his moral indictment of American culture.
Inside, they're selling the poison that cripples Americans' children.
Did you ever think that Jerry Falwell and the religious right would get so involved and become so powerful in American politics?
No, subsequently, that was a surprise to me of some degree.
Out of office, Carter returned home to Plains, Georgia, and to his church.
This is the first real indication of God's will for women to play a leading role in the early church.
He taught adult Sunday school and still does. But in the 1990s, he watched the Southern Baptist Convention he belonged to grow progressively more conservative and more political, contrary to his faith.
And they were, in my opinion, a radical departure from what, to me, the Baptist faith had always represented. In effect, they adopted a creed that said if you don't agree with this written document in its entirety, you cannot be a pastor in a Southern Baptist church.
Especially troublesome to the president, an amendment in 2000 to the group's statement of beliefs on the role of women. From now on, like Muslims and Orthodox Jews, Southern Baptists would restrict the role of women.
Women must be submissive to their husbands, and that no woman can be a leader in the church as a pastor or a deacon in the church, and that women are precluded from instructing men. So those things have been of great concern to me.
The Southern Baptist Amendment on a woman's role passed in 2000. Carter then publicly broke with the convention. He's continued to speak out against what he sees as the growing influence of fundamentalism in many religions, characterized by rigidity, male domination, and exclusion.
And it's impossible for a fundamentalist to admit that he is ever wrong, because he would be admitting that God was wrong.
Jimmy Carter is working to reclaim his faith.
I think the primary crisis that faces the Christian church in its totality is division.
Along with former President Bill Clinton, they formed what they call the Celebration of a New Baptist Covenant, calling on Christians to focus on issues like poverty rather than on divisive issues like abortion and gay marriage.
We have adopted as our guidelines a gospel based on peace and justice and humility and service and love that really helps people who are in need.
Rather than?
rather than more of a fundamentalist commitment where you define who can be and who cannot be a member of your organization.
Critics say Carter is playing political